Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be replacing the lower ball joints for the 2005 Lexus LS430. Um, Mine is a 2005, but it should apply to all 2001 to 2006 lower ball joints for the LS430. So here's the brand new one here that I have. I'm going to be replacing it with, and here I have the wheel removed from my LS430, and I'll show you guys what it looks like underneath. Should be relatively easy to replace. Just gotta loosen up some bolts and two nuts. So what I did is I soaked the two bolts that are underneath a day ahead, and then the two nuts that are on one on the tie rod arm and then one on the lower control arm, and I'll show you that right now. All right, so here we are underneath the car. This is the passenger side here underneath the wheel hub. I've already removed the wheel. So the two bolts I'm talking about is this one here. It's a 17 millimeter here and another 17 millimeter here. Those are two that you need to remove, loosen up. Once you loosen this up, these two up here, it should push this hub out of the way, off the knuckle and off the, so you can kind of access the lower control arm nut right here, and gives you a better space and better access to this one too as well. So let's do this real quick and loosen this up and see how they go. All right, 17 on here. Loosen this up here. That's one. Loosen up the other one here. Spraying WD-40 ahead of time really helps with removing these. All right, now I'm going to lift this up off the lower control arm to kind of swing this out of the way. I support it with my jack. You can use anything you want just to keep it up. I just want to keep it up from tearing it, breaking any brake lines or any wires that's hanging off the knuckle on the on this side of the suspension. So let me show you how it looks like now. So now you have your two axis that I was talking about. Obviously your first being this part up here, being the 19 millimeter here. You have to remove this pin here. The same thing for underneath here, 17 millimeter. Removing this pin and then this nut here. This should break loose the tie rod arm, get that out of the way, and then this will break off here and loosen up and break off here from the lower control arm. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so I'm gonna remove this bottom nut here, castle nut here on the tie rod arm. First, I remove this pin, put it to the side. My new replacement comes with one, so I'm not too worried about this one. You can see my lower tie rod. Looks like I have to replace this right here, and looks pretty worn out. So I'm gonna make a separate video for that because I have to replace this whole tie rod and the bellow that the tie rod goes to up here. You see how it's torn? So I'm gonna have to replace all of that, and I'll make a separate video for that later. So for now, let's just work on this one right here. So like I said, I've soaked it in WD-40. It's helped me break this off. Pretty simple. Voila. This one is now off. Done. All right, so to remove this bottom part here, bottom tie rod, you're gonna need a smaller tie rod puller to pop this off. It's the smaller version. There's two of them, so I got the smaller one compared to, say, the larger ones here. See, the smaller one just fits better. So for now, I'll put the this knuckle back on, put it in place to hold it back in place. It just gives me better leverage of popping this off. So loosen this bolt here. Move this out of the way. Now you have access to your 19mm nut, castle nut that goes on the lower control arm. All right, so let's get to this top one here. Pin already removed, put that to the side. I've already loosened this up with my impact. Took a bit of force, but we got it off. Sorry about that. So best thing to do is leave the tie rod on here, even though we loosened it or we popped it off, but keep that on there. That'll help you get some stability on loosening that off. So I'm gonna put the little castle nut back on here at the bottom just to make sure it stays in place. So for this one now, this is where we have to pop off and use the bigger tie rod puller. So just move this out of the way here. Do the same thing we did with this one right here, with that. See, if you don't have one, it helps to have one of these. Pops it right. All right, so putting on the new lower bar joints right now. I also changed the new tie rod arm. That's in a separate video, as I said before. So putting the lower bar joints back in place, just kind of pop them up and tighten the top nut, castle nut, just so I can get tight enough to where I can, torque it down. This bottom right here, put the tie rod in, just gonna put the nut back on it, just so that I can have some stability on when I'm trying to torque this 19mm castle nut on the bar joint going to the lower control arm. That one is going to be pretty tough. So this one is 119 foot-pounds of torque, 43 for this lower tie rod arm, and 83 and 83 for these bottom two here. So 83, 83, 43, 119. So let me go ahead and torque these down. I'll be right back. All right, so we've torqued it down. Don't forget to put your clips on. This one goes for this one, and my tie rod arm since I replaced my tie rod arm, it came with also a new one I'm gonna be using here. So I'm just gonna put that in that, and then we'll put this spindle back on in place. All right, guys, so that should pretty much do it. Don't forget to put your pin back in here, and that should take care of the rest. 43 foot-pounds of torque on the tie rod nut. The two 17mm bolts, those are 83 foot-pounds of torque. So that pretty much should take care of this installation. leave a like if you enjoy, this was helpful for you. I'm gonna be doing another video here soon. One's gonna be the ball joint that I just did, and the other one is the upper control arms and then coilovers. So hopefully, you know, you guys found this helpful. Thank you.